The Master's Mysteries. Tales of Magical Mastery, Episode 11. The old beggar knew that the two people in front of him were not ordinary villagers. In order to quickly defeat his opponents, he released all the six-fingered insects on his body. Goodness, these things are not easy to deal with. These insects, controlled by the old beggar, moved with anger and immediately rushed towards the villagers after jumping off the old beggar. Master Dao, you take the villagers and go ahead. Also, help me prepare some things. Liao Feng was calculating in his mind. If all the villagers were controlled, the consequences would be unimaginable. So he asked the old Taoist to take everyone away first and quietly instructed him to prepare some things for him. Master Dao, hurry and go. I can hold on for a while. Kid, can you handle this on your own? Seeing the old Taoist hesitating, Liao Feng raised his voice. Time was pressing, and everyone had to act separately. Quick, everyone, follow me. The villagers, already frightened by the strange insects, ran towards the village as soon as the old Taoist called them. As the villagers ran backward, Liao Feng took 2 steps forward and stood in front of the swarming insects. Confronting these highly poisonous insects with fists and feet was clearly not effective. Liao Feng quickly took off his outer garment, swung his arm, and turned the clothes into a long strip of cloth. Swinging this thing around, it swept away a large area, instantly shattering the first wave of attacking insects, causing their fluid to splatter. Liao Feng knew that these things were unpleasant once they got on him. He took 2 steps back and wielded the strip of cloth he made from his outer garment like a staff. Fighting and dodging, dozens of 6-fingered insects rushing towards him couldn't get close, each one smashed to pieces. However, the old beggar's insects were not limited to just these. Soon, countless centipede-like insects emerged from the ground where Liao Feng was standing, ferociously attacking him. Liao Feng leaped to avoid the attacks while his left hand manipulated the cloth, and his right hand shot out more than a dozen copper coins. Although he destroyed many insects, he also exhausted himself. This wouldn't work for long, but the coins Liao Feng threw seemed random. In fact, each coin was pinned to a specific position. Heaven generates Qian, Earth generates Kun, Yin and Yang. The 8 trigrams obey my heart. As he clapped his palm onto the ground and chanted a few spells, the ground began to ripple, and a large formation emerged. The 8 trigrams wind and fire formation is activated. With the formation in place, a whirlwind suddenly swept around, accompanied by countless flames. The numerous insects were quickly burned to ashes. Seeing his released insects being burned to death, the old beggar's expression grew increasingly gloomy. Haha, let's see how long you can hold on, and how many you can burn to death. However, he wasn't concerned about the insects. Those things could be cultivated in countless numbers. He was angry because he didn't expect the young man in front of him to possess such skills, but he also realized that this formation couldn't last much longer. Seeing the old beggar's sinister laughter, Liao Feng knew that he definitely had a trick up his sleeve and became more cautious. Sure enough, behind the old beggar, half of a corpse emerged from the ground. It seemed that this old man used the corpse to nurture the insects. As long as this corpse was present, the insects would be endless. Then, with a wave of the old beggar's hand, numerous insects swarmed out from the mutilated corpse. Kid, here are the things you wanted. Taoist, catch. Just as the situation seemed impossible for Liao Feng to handle, the old Taoist returned in time, holding a cloth bag in his hand. Got it. Upon hearing Liao Feng's call, the old Taoist swiftly tossed the bag towards Liao Feng. However, instead of reaching out to catch it, Liao Feng fixed his gaze on the trajectory of the flying bag. Ha! After carefully observing, Liao Feng leaped into the air and kicked with all his might, sending the bag flying towards the old beggar. The bag landed squarely on the old beggar's head, and in that instant, Liao Feng made a quick motion with his hand and shot a copper coin. The coin hit its mark with pinpoint accuracy, slicing open the bag. Suddenly, a large amount of yellow powder sprayed out, enveloping an area of 5 to 6 meters in a yellow mist. The bag contained realgar, the substance that these evil creatures feared the most. As soon as the numerous insects came into contact with the realgar, they sizzled and turned into pus. The old beggar, who raised the insects, was also greatly afraid of this yang substance. Now, covered in realgar, he trembled all over, his facial features contorted in extreme agony. "Who are you? Why are you causing trouble here?" Liao Feng knew that the old beggar temporarily lost his ability to resist and approached him. I am. Perhaps due to the irritation caused by the realgar, the old beggar coughed incessantly. His face became increasingly pale, and his voice sounded extremely weak, as if he could collapse at any moment. "You're the one who's after my life." However, what Liao Feng didn't expect was that this old beggar was cunning and deceitful to the extreme. His appearance of weakness was all a ruse. Suddenly, he twisted the dog-beating stick in his hand, and a cold gleam slashed towards Liao Feng. At that moment, Liao Feng was only 3 feet away from the old beggar. Seeing the flash of cold light, Liao Feng desperately tried to retreat, but he was still slightly slow, and a gash was cut open on his chest. The old beggar, realizing that his unexpected knife attack had failed to take down the young man in front of him, leaped forward and swung his blade 2 more times. However, once he was prepared, the old beggar's meager martial arts skills were no match. Liao Feng easily dodged his attacks. After evading the blade, Liao Feng leaped into the air and delivered a powerful kick to the old beggar's head. The force behind this kick was incredibly strong, sending the old beggar flying 4 to 5 meters before crashing heavily to the ground. Without waiting for him to get up, Liao Feng pounced on the old beggar once again. "You poisonous scum! Speak up! Who are you really?" Liao Feng landed and pressed his knee against the old beggar's chest. With a crisp sound, the old beggar's sternum cracked, and a mouthful of blood sprayed out. "Tell me, who are you?" Liao Feng, suppressing his anger, interrogated the beaten old beggar. Unexpectedly, despite being at a disadvantage, the old beggar showed no fear. Instead, he grinned with wickedness. "I have long been prepared to serve the immortal sect with loyalty." Seeing the old beggar's madness and his mention of the immortal sect, Liao Feng's heart trembled. Could it be that this old beggar was also a member of the cult of demonic immortals? "Go to hell. The immortal sect will avenge me when I return." The old beggar's mouth wide open, he let out a crazed roar, causing the veins on his face to bulge and his eyes to turn bloodshot. Suddenly, a red shadow shot out from the old beggar's mouth, aiming straight for Liao Feng's cheek. Liao Feng quickly raised his hand to block the attack. "Haha, die. All of you should die." However, soon a sharp pain shot through Liao Feng's palm. He realized that he had fallen into the old beggar's trap. "You will experience the same fate as me, rotting away in agony from my blood curse." From the old beggar's maniacal screams, Liao Feng understood that the attack directed at him was the blood curse nurtured by the old beggar's own lifeblood. Once the blood curse's source was lost, it would fiercely backfire on its cultivator. The old beggar's body rapidly melted away, leaving behind pools of pus and blood flowing on the ground. Meanwhile, Liao Feng's condition was far from good. His entire arm had become numb and devoid of sensation, turning pitch black. It was evident how intense the venomous curse was. Liao Feng hurriedly activated the true fire within his body, sealing off the blood vessels in his entire arm. However, this was only a temporary measure to prevent the spread of the curse. Without an antidote in less than a day, his arm would turn into pus and blood, and his own life would be in jeopardy. What was even more crucial was that the old beggar had nurtured the blood curse for a full 60 years. The vitality of the curse was extremely resilient. Despite his suppression, it continued to burrow upward through his arm, inch by inch. If the curse crawled a few more inches, once it reached the joints, even a Grand Lu Jinshin would be fatally attacked by the venomous blood, penetrating their meridians and causing death. Realizing this, Liu Feng clenched his teeth and drew a short knife, thrusting it into his own arm. Swiftly cutting open the flesh, he then skillfully extracted a blood-red venomous creature, tossing it onto the ground before pinning it down with the dagger. The blood curse was instantly charred into charcoal, but the remaining venom within Liu Feng's body stimulated his vision to darken. Liu Feng knew that if he were to faint right now and lose the ability to seal his blood vessels, the curse would spread, and he would die immediately. However, the venom from the blood curse was ferocious, and Liu Feng felt his mind go blank. His body swayed, and he collapsed backward, losing consciousness. "Kid, you?" Everything happened in an instant, and the old Taoist watched as Liu Feng fell to the ground before realizing what had transpired. "Kid, Liu, wake up. Snap out of it." The old Taoist rushed over in a panic, scooping up Liu Feng, but by that time, Liu Feng had already fallen into a deep coma.